Hey everybody, this guy right here, Ray Fluck, television beat writer for Bleeding Cool, welcoming you guys back to our weekly recap of Happy, Syfy's television series adaptation of the Grant Morrison, Derek Robertson graphic novel series. We're going to be taking a look this week at White Sauce, Hot Sauce, which was the 5th episode this season. We had a little bit of a break beforehand, kind of let everything simmer, get everybody a chance to get caught up. I know Syfy was smart enough to hold a little mini marathon to get everybody up to speed, and up to speed you need to be. Because 5th episode has a lot of stuff going on. We get a lot of, not just backstory, but we get a lot of forward momentum on the storyline too. So let's not hesitate, let's jump right in, so you're not going to be spending as much time watching this as you did the episode. We're going to start with our listing of quotes, which I have handy dandy right here to make sure I get them proper. First quote, "She tried." McCarthy to Sax regarding Amanda and seeking him out for help and assistance with Hailey. "I know who's naughty and who's nice, and you're way too nice to go in there." That was a very bad Santa to Hailey, which gives you some sense of Lord only knows what the hell is coming up if very bad Santa's trying to keep her from going in there. "You've been medicated but never taught properly how to behave." That's on the Smoothie recording, playing in the beginning of the classroom as he's eating corn. Yeah, eating corn. "I've done everything in the past 10 years to keep her from being your daughter." Amanda to Sax, showing that the family reunion wasn't exactly going well. "Missing persons, great band in the 80s, not your department." And the next quote, "He would tell you to stay off that wall. Do what you have to do whatever you have to do, but stay off that wall." I'm going to have to look up their names, the internal affairs representatives, because they were fantastic. Their delivery was incredible, and those were just two amazing quotes. "Empty boxes of broken toys." And Sax says to Happy on the subway station platform. And we got, "You're not handling anything. You were afraid. I think I threw the wrong person out of my house." Amanda to McCarthy, who's starting to realize very quickly now that McCarthy's got a lot more things going on than just wanting to help her out or wanting to help out Sax. She's starting to realize just how deep the manipulations are going. And "Shit, I killed my kid's imaginary friend," as at the end when Happy takes off. And it looks like Sax can't get him back. So those are our quotes. If you haven't seen it yet, keep it in mind if you're going to be watching. If you have seen it, I know those quotes are rumbling around your head. You're going to be able to associate where they went in regards to my handy-dandy little summary that's going to be going on right now. And where the episode starts off, pretty much where we left it off. Very bad Santa's place. The area's been abandoned. You've got McCarthy. You've got Sax, and you've got Happy. Everybody's noticing that the crates are empty. And then when everything calms down, there's this whole, well, what the hell are you doing here? What the hell are you doing here? Fisticuffs, sexual tension, innuendo, not involving Happy. That'd be kind of weird. Not saying they're probably not going to go that route. You never know. But between McCarthy and Sax gets a sense that McCarthy doesn't even get a sense. He knows that McCarthy's working with Amanda. That's where he's like, oh, okay. And the whole conversation about why she didn't go to him in the first place. McCarthy draws a gun. Sax knows how to handle the situation. Next thing you know, boom, McCarthy's unconscious. Sax is making his way out with Happy to try and see what he can do now, because honestly, the roads don't bode well at this point. You don't know where the kids are. We do, because we saw it last episode when they're on the van being taken somewhere, and that somewhere is where we go to our next sequence. The kids are making their way to, it looks like a soundstage studio type production area, and they're being hoarded into a dark room that turns out to be a mock classroom. Very old schooly cliche classroom where the kids sit down, and oh, guess who's the instructor? Smoothie. Patrick Fischler deserves props. Probably one of the best performances of just crazy I've seen on television in quite some time, and that's really putting it up there. The corn eating sequence as he's playing the tape of having a conversation with the kids, just to intimidate to intimidate them, to scare them, but also more importantly, shows just how genuinely disconnected he is. I'll eat corn as these kids listen to essentially what I want to say on this recording. Very screwed up, very messed up scene, but a very, very important one. We see, and I'm jumping ahead a little this because I really want to embrace this entire scene. Throughout the episode, you see that essentially what Smoothie feels he needs to be doing is teaching these kids real behavior modification, real sense of discipline, and a real sense of how to act. Now, I could dime store or psychoanalyze the fact that I'm sure a lot of this has to do with his upbringing. I would not be the kind of person that would want to say that to his face, however, considering how he interrogates. But we see throughout, we see the use of the little critter, that you know what's going to happen, and still when he just slams that fist down, you still can't help be horrified. And then it's the combination of discipline and structure, and then I give you cake, and then of course Hailey, showing herself to be the true individual, doesn't want the cake. And it's very interesting to see where things are going, because you see that strange hand slide across and take one of the kids takes the cake from her. Curious to see how all of that eventually does play out, but Hailey's still holding out hope. She's got Happy, she's got her dad, and as much as she's feeling forlorn, we see as she looks out, she knows that they're going to come to rescue her. And she's also a very smart little girl in the sense that she's also observing and keeping a watch of everything that's going on too. So in that sequence, the entire classroom sequence, very good, very disturbing. I understand why on Twitter, when a lot of the cast were live tweeting, they were telling people it's going to get really, really weird. It got really, really weird. So moving things outside of the classroom setting, what we do get to see is we get to see Nick finally, after some convincing and some prodding, making his way to see Amanda, which again, is just not going to go well. It's when you consider the last time we saw them, she was afraid, and then eventually told him that she was pregnant. He didn't exactly take it well, and then the whole corruption, adultery, spiraling, everything like that, none of it seemed to really, really go well. So this doesn't really go well either. Thankfully, you've got somebody in the shape of a gang with axes who are willing to kind of break up the uncomfortableness, break it up by wanting to kill both of them, granted. But still, what I find interesting is, and I made allude to this, it's the edge that, that the couple that murders together stays together, or the couple that axes together stays together, because you see quickly, Amanda doesn't have much of an issue, A, go into protective mode, and B, getting into Sax's world. Now, we see at the end, she basically tells him to get out and plays a game of chicken with him with 911 on the phone. But I thought it was very interesting how easily she was able to take to his world. And granted, she's not a fighter like him, but more than held her own in that kitchen. And I think on some level that kind of surprised Sax also. So I loved seeing that. But Amanda is still going to be Amanda. Sax is going to have to work hard to get back into her good graces. Just saying that you're looking for Hailey and putting it out there after all those years isn't going to be enough. Again, that 10 years comment where she spent so long wanting Hailey to not be like Sax, yeah, it's going to take a lot more convincing for the mom. Moving on, we're going to take a look at Isabella Sachs, who I'm not sure what to feel about her, because at first I thought she was going to be one of the major big bads, but it seems like she has really got a raging hard-on against her brother Blue. She has every reason to, because of just the way he's approached her, acted towards her, and I don't know, how he basically led to the killing of the boys. So I think that would be a major, major factor. What I loved interesting about that scene is it's the combination of the reality world that she lives in and the old school world she lives in. There may be cameras and everything else around, but that old little lady's pulling a little bit of the old world magic in there. The idea about making Mikey something that he loves, something that will bring him back, that will bring him to her. Oh, and by the way, a little menstrual blood from an old lady thrown into the mix just to make it work, I'm sure is just going to... It's weird, because on a side note, I always thought that was a way of getting a guy to fall for you. So I think it'd be damn hysterical if Mikey comes back and all of a sudden just starts falling for the old lady. It's curious to see where that's going to go, especially, spoiler, if you look at the sneak preview for tonight's episode, you're going to see that Mikey starts playing a large part in a very big way. Probably not the first thing on Sax's list that he wants to do, but you'll see in the preview that he doesn't have much of a choice. Now we go to Sax. Sax is just now kind of forlorn. I guess kind of depressed, because he doesn't have a lead on the case, so Hailey's gone. He doesn't know what's going on with McCarthy, and that run-in with her, I'm sure, wasn't good. The whole thing with Amanda and the axes and everything, not a good reacquainted, want to get to know you again first date. So he's feeling kind of down and depressed. The fact that drugs and alcohol and everything else, that scoring through his system probably has a lot to do with it too. So he gets into the subway system, and it turns out to be a trial of sorts between Happy and Sax, and I'm hoping will be the final debate between people who are optimistic and people who are pessimistic. I thought this was a good one. The idea of Sax laying on the train tracks and just telling Happy, listen to all these people, see all the things they're doing, how self-absorbed, how self-involved they are. Sax basically saying, I'm going to lay on this track and kill myself, and no one is going to give a rat's ass. The only thing they're going to care about is that their trains are delayed. They're not going to care about the human being that's on train tracks. It gets interesting, because Happy, hoping he can get Sax to lift himself up, just says, look, you're fine, I get it, I'm going, I'm leaving, I'm fine, I'm gone. Happy disappears. Side note, we need to be concerned about Happy because his coat, he's starting to lose his coat and it's starting to fade. My concern is that the longer he's away from Hailey and the darker things get, the more we're going to start seeing Happy die also. So just a sad little side note to put there. But Happy disappears. So Sax on the tracks, and then he gets this memory, he gets this recollection of Blue Christmas in this whole scenario. There's somebody whistling and hearing the song Blue Christmas, and with Blue Christmas, it reminds him, holy crap, I've met Very Bad Santa before. Now, in all of this, Sax is realizing, I need to get up, I might have a lead, this, oh, that ulcer I have, I can't get off the tracks, and those bright lights coming my way, yeah, that's a train. So in that last moment, those bitter, cynical, self-centered New Yorkers, as we are always claimed to be, goes and rescues him at the last minute. Essentially, as one little girl puts it, a Christmas miracle. And it gives Sax a little sense and an understanding of like, okay, maybe Happy's right. Maybe there are some good, decent aspects out there. He's not willing to own up to that, of course, because right now he's just seeing it as, oh, no, I have to be alive because I have a lead. Because Blue Christmas, that song connects him to a memory he had when Blue introduced him for the first time to the person who would end up being Very Bad Santa. Essentially, Blue wanted him to take him under his wing, teach him the ropes, and essentially kind of as a pseudo-partner. But Nick, Sax being smart, was just like, no, I can tell you off the bat. Looking at this guy, I sense psycho. He's crazy. Nothing good comes from crazy or psycho. I like to be professional. I like to be straightforward. I'm not going to have anything to do with this guy, which is fascinating because besides giving him a lead in the sense that he now needs to go to Blue, the guy who's actually trying to kill him, he also, in his mind, and I was thinking this too, is I'm wondering if Sax wasn't supposed to be the first person that was supposed to be coordinating this effort that involves Blue, the guy in the Dung Beetle costume, Very Bad Santa Smoothie, and apparently, as we see, everybody else. And when I say everybody else, I leave with this last thing. It goes even into internal affairs. There's a great scene, and I want to save this for now because it's just the two actresses who are representing internal affairs. I don't know their names, and I want to get that for the next recap. But their interrogation to McCarthy and saying to McCarthy, in a sense, like, look, do your job, do your role. This kids thing, kids disappear all the time. Don't look into it. You don't need to know what's going on. And then doing that whole, you see your late dad on the wall there of officers who've fallen. He doesn't want you on there. Basically, you're going to end up on there if you keep doing this investigating. Which, again, I think raises the question, too, did McCarthy's dad look into some shady stuff and did that cost him? So I think that's a potential story, probably not for this season, but moving forward. So that's where we have it. We now have Happy disappeared. We've got Sax with another lead that's going to actually literally have to take him to ground zero to meet with Blue. We've got Amanda, who is not giving up on this, but is trying to look for the right direction. And you've got McCarthy, who's being pulled in 27 different directions as to where her loyalties should lie. She somehow thinks that if she sticks with Sax and with Blue, that she can somehow thread that needle, and I'm just not sure. And through this all, you have a pseudo-classroom full of kids. Lord only knows what Smoothie has in store for them. So that's where we essentially have left episode 5 going into tonight's episode 6. And tonight's episode 6, which is the Scrapyard of Childish Things. We're going to be doing a live blog of that tonight. We're going to be starting unofficially at 9 p.m. with some pre-stuff, 10 p.m. With the actual live blog. So make sure you go to bleedingcool.com and check out our landing site for that. Keep it open. Let me know what you think. We're going to be playing along. I think we only have this week and 4 more episodes. We're at the halfway point. So very interested to see where this is going. So thanks for joining me on this recap. Hope you guys join me tonight for the live blog. Make sure you comment down below. Let me know what you think. And I will see you guys later on the inner tubes tonight. Thanks.